Good morning, everyone, to this meeting of League City Toastmasters. I'm glad that each of you are here. My name is Scott Livingston, and I'm the president of League City Toastmasters, and I've been in the club for about a year and a half. Let's go around the room and just do some brief introductions with name and just a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in Toastmasters. And Megan, let's go to you.
Hey, I am Megan Mcmaster, and I am the Vice President of Membership, and I have been with Toastmasters since last May. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, welcome. And Jason, welcome, good morning.
Good morning. So I guess I am the new guy. I've been here about a month now. I guess I've been to 3 or 4 weekly sessions, or bi-weekly, I should say. Doing my first icebreaker speech today, so excited about that. And that's me.
Fantastic. Welcome, Jason. I'm glad you're here. And we also have Elizabeth Ruiz, who is our Sergeant at Arms for our club. She's also the president in at least one other club, I think multiple other clubs, and she's very, very active at the district level, and she's taking care of a family member at this time. I'm sure she's going to rejoin us here pretty soon. We may have some other members that rejoin us or that join us here in the course of our meeting, but we're just going to go ahead and continue, especially with this being in spring break. You never know, we may have some people that are a little bit out of pocket at this time. And I do see that Renee joined us. And Renee, we are doing brief introductions with name and title and length of membership in League City Toastmasters. Would you like to introduce yourself, Renee, before we continue with our meeting? Okay, you're on mute. Okay.
I am Renee Griffin. I'm the League City Toastmasters recording secretary, and I've been a member of League City Toastmasters since September 2020. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, Renee. All right, we're glad that everyone's here, and we're going to go ahead and continue with our agenda. I'm going to pull that up. And what we do at the beginning of each meeting is that roles are assigned before we start the meeting. I'm the president, and I welcome everybody after we open the meeting. I'm also going to serve as a Toastmaster for today. And the Toastmaster introduces the theme of the meeting with opening comments, calls upon the timer, the grammarian, the odd counter, and the ballot counter to explain the roles. So at this time, I'm going to call upon the timer. And Renee, would you be in a position to serve as our timer today?
Timer. Okay. I was looking for the ballot counting.
Okay. Well, that's
information,
okay.
so I didn't see it on the attachment. So
that's okay.
Okay, I can do. All right. Timer would be green, red, and yellow. Okay. Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And the ballot counter times each speech, and before each speech, the timer announces the length of time which is allowed for each speech, and then they time the speech. And then when the speaker has completed the required amount of time for the speech, they get a green card. When they have gone an additional 30 seconds, they get a yellow card. When they go an additional 30 seconds, they get a red card. And we'll work through it. Okay. Yep. And with some of the other roles, let's see. Let me go back to my agenda here. The grammarian. So I've got the word of the day, and then after I give the word of the day, I'm going to give the mic over to Megan, and she's going to talk a little bit more about the other roles of the grammarian and the odd counter, because she's serving in those 2 capacities. Then after that, we'll go to Renee, and she can talk about the ballot counter, how that works. The word of the day. I've got the word of the day. And let me do a screen share so you guys can see what I'm seeing. The word of the day is rancor. And I'm not sure what this is right here, because I know there's an R in there. But anyways, in the United States, we say rancor. And you can spell it either way, O-U-R or O-R. It's a noun. It means malicious resentfulness or hostility, and it talks about spite. And the reason I came up with this word of the day, I'll come back to it in a second, is that if you look at our agenda for the day, It basically says, and let me do a quick little screen share with our agenda so everybody can see. With our agenda for the day, our theme is vaccine envy. So our word of the day is rancor. And when I think about vaccine envy, I'm thinking about the fact that some people are getting the vaccine, not everyone's getting the vaccine. And so the idea with rancors, I try to come up with a word that kind of fit in with envy. Other derived forms of rancor, we'll talk about that, but a noun for rancor means malicious, resentfulness, or hostility. It means spite. Other forms of rancor, and you could use any one of these today, okay? Rancorous, rancorously, or rancorousness. So you can use any one of those today: rancor, rancorous, rancorously, or rancorousness. It comes from the old French word. And example sentences: she was in that state that she could not have endured sharpness or rancor. If there have been conflicts, they have left no rancor, no bitterness. Bitterness invaded him. Rancor, anger, scorn, and desires accumulated in his mind. So again, malicious, resentfulness, or hostility. And if I was to use the word in the sentence, I'd say that I have no rancor toward people who are getting their vaccines, because I figure they need it. And when it's my turn, I'll get it. And I'm just grateful for the good health that I have. With that, let's go to Megan. Would you talk about the other roles of the grammarian and the counter today?
Thank you, Toastmaster Livingston. Yes, the rest of the grammarian role, I will be tracking your use of the word of the day today, and also listening for interesting uses of words, phrases, and or grammar. And I am also serving as the counter. I'll be listening for crutch and filler words from all members, and I will count them up to a maximum of 5 per speaker. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Megan. And with that, we'll go to our ballot counter. Renee, would you introduce the role of the ballot counter and explain what you'll be doing today in that capacity? Okay. Can you unmute? And we can help you out, Renee.
Ballot counter was not attached to my email.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
No, it's okay. So we can use it on the
Ballot.
agenda. We can read it from the agenda as well.
Oh, well, okay, wait a minute. If it's on the agenda, all right.
And you can just summarize what the ballot counter does. The ballot counter counts votes.
Yes, the ballot counter will be counting votes as we have a special election for the club officer positions of Vice President of Public Relations and Secretary at our club meeting today, March 19th. And so I will be counting the ballots as we have those votes for those positions. Thank you.
Yes, and in addition to that, today we'll also have a vote for the best prepared speaker of the day and the best impromptu speaker of the day. Thank you, Renee. As the Toastmaster, I'm going to introduce our first speaker, who is Jason Suchecki. He is in Pathways, and he's in the track for presentation mastery. He's going to be giving his icebreaker speech, which is 4 to 6 minutes. So that means, as I understand it, that at 4 minutes, he gets a green card. And then I believe at 6 minutes, he gets a yellow card. And then I believe at 6.5 minutes, he gets a red card. And then if he goes long, 30 seconds after that, he's disqualified. So Jason, that means you don't want to go longer than 6.5 minutes. And the title of his speech is About Me, ... and my few career changes, exclamation. Again, about me and my few career changes. And about his speech, this is what he says: from a respiratory therapist, traveling fitness consultant, software recruiter, DME manager, fitness center owner, and a commercial real estate agent, he will share with us how his careers have shaped who he is. And with that, let me make sure that our timer is ready. Is our timer ready to, you can use a stopwatch or some type of a device. I just want to make sure you're ready. And you've got a green card, yellow card, or red card that you can also use.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Where's my timer? Oh, here we go.
And so Jason,
Stopwatch.
Okay. We'll just wait till our timer's ready. We don't want to get underway.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're about ready. And so with that, Jason, welcome you to the podium. And I would encourage you to take a breath and just prepare for when you want to start. And then once you start speaking, that's when our timer will hit the stopwatch and start timing.
All right. Thank you so much for the introduction, Scott. I actually got a little excited seeing it was my week to give my speech today, mainly because it's spring break and I figured I wouldn't have a huge audience. I was somewhat right, but here you guys are listening to me, so thank you. But before I get into how my careers have shaped who I am, I'll begin by introducing myself and a little bit of my background to you. So I grew up here locally in the Friendswood, League City area. I went to P.H. Green, Landell Elementary, Webster Intermediate School, and also Clearbrook High School. I graduated from Southwest Texas, called Texas State University. Now it's a Bobcat. We could do the I got my degree in bachelor's in respiratory therapy. But before we talk careers, I think it's important to decide how I chose respiratory therapy as a degree. While I was in high school, my father was actually unemployed. He lost his job for probably 3 out of the 4 years I was in high school. I saw the way that impacted him and our family, so I knew I wanted to choose a career path in which I would always have a job. So respiratory therapy fit the bill. But shortly working as a therapist, I knew the job wasn't for me long term. There wasn't a whole lot of mobility. I knew I didn't want to be a manager in a hospital, so no offense to any of you guys working as managers in hospitals out there, but I figured I love people, I love sales, I had the medical background. I thought pharmaceutical sales might be a natural fit. So I interviewed with probably 3 out of the top 5 pharmaceutical companies. And they all said, Jason, we love you. You just don't have any sales experience. So go get some sales experience, come back and talk with us. So at this point, I was a little frustrated. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was living in New Braunfels on the river, the Guadalupe, and I was browsing through the paper, the classified ads, which you don't have anymore. I found an ad, said Fun in the Sun sells, call this number. I was like, oh, who's putting an ad like that out? So I called it, and lo and behold, it was a traveling fitness consultant, and I took it. So I worked as a fitness consultant. I traveled around the country. I got sales experience, business experience. I met my wife. It was fantastic. I loved it. I got to travel, but the travel ultimately got to me. So my next endeavor, I was an IT software recruiter in Austin, Texas. It was a little different. I worked as an IT recruiter for 6 months. After 6 months, I was actually recruited to an account manager. But keep in mind, when I graduated college just a few years back, I didn't even know how to email. So here I was a few years later, I'm meeting with CFOs, CTOs about their IT projects and who to hire and the projects they had. But it was awesome. I had a fantastic time doing it. But then the dot-com bust in the late 90s happened. But luckily, remember, I had my respiratory background. I could always get a job, and that was important for me. So then I went to work for home DME companies as a respiratory therapist and a sales manager. But luckily for me, I kept in good friends with the people I worked with in the gym consulting business. And the owners of that, they started a franchise called Anytime Fitness. One just happened to open up right down the street from where I was at. I did some research on the company, the franchise, and I said, wow, this is for me. So my wife and I, we scrounged up a couple $1,000s, which was the franchise fee at the time. We locked in our first territory. And I remember we went to probably 20 or 30 different banks asking for loans. Finally found one small bank that invested in farmer funds and said, look, we'll give you a loan. So we did that, a home equity loan, and the rest on credit cards. And we opened up our first facility. Luckily, it was successful. We parlayed that one into 7 more. We purchased some commercial real estate to go with it as well. At this point, we had 7 open in 3 different states, and it just wasn't fun for me. I remember back when I had my first club, I was working in the club. That's when I had the most fun. So we decided to downsize. I sold all the clubs we had except for the one, which is here in Lake City, less than a mile from my house. And I think having my medical background and my background with geriatrics and my love for fitness kind of all combined at this point. So at the club we have now, we focus primarily on those who are 55 plus. And people who are 55 plus, they have health issues. So I became a cancer exercise specialist. I'm a certified trainer for people who have Parkinson's. We do a boxing program for people who have Parkinson's. I'm also certified to work with special needs. We do an adaptive training program at Hometown Heroes for CCISD in the city. Last year, I'm sure you guys are aware, COVID hit, and like all other businesses, our gym was shut down for 2 months. So during that 2-month time period, I also got spinal fusion surgery. So I had time on my hands to do something. I decided I was going to get my real estate license. When we had the gyms, I always did my own leases. I bought my own commercial property. I didn't use a realtor. That was just something I loved to do. My wife was a residential agent here locally for the past 5 years for the Bly team. She loved the real estate market too. And so my idea was at the very least, if she was busy, can't be at 2 places at one time, I could back her up. The owner of the company found out a little bit about my background. She knew what I did. And she found out I was getting my license, and she said, Jason, we get commercial leads all the time. And A, we don't have anybody here that knows the commercial market. B, none of us really want to know the commercial market. Sounds like you love it. Why don't you come in and work for us? So that led me to my current career as a commercial real estate agent. So in closing, thank you for listening to my speech. I hope you learned a little bit about me and my careers, but just something to ponder. Does or has your career shaped who you are, or have you shaped your careers? And in my case, I think it's a little bit of both. So thanks again for listening. Have a good weekend.
All right, fantastic. That was a really good icebreaker speech. I think that's one of the better ones that I've ever seen. So that was well done, Jason.
Thank you.
So going back to our agenda, I think what we need to do is take a little bit of time, about a minute, give some time to Megan to complete her evaluation form. And in the meantime, the others are welcome to send some feedback directly to Jason, not to everyone, but in your chat, send feedback directly to Jason. And in about a minute, we will reconvene and continue with our meeting. So I'm gonna go ahead and time it just because I'm got the clock right here, and let's send some comments to Jason. And I'm clicking on the chat button, and interestingly enough, it's not, there it is. All right.
Yeah, I know. The rules somewhere. But I guess after I read our materials and gone through it, comments, my question is it up to us to say, okay, here's where this is and copy and paste that text? Or do we just say,
Okay, guys, you are welcome to continue with your comments. And we're going to go and continue with our meeting agenda. We do not have other prepared speakers for today. On the agenda, it says that the Toastmaster calls for the timer report, invites members to vote for best speaker, and then we go into table topics. So with that, let's go to Renee for a timer report. Go ahead, Renee. What was this time?
I didn't see anything. That's all. So
Jason Suchecki
I didn't see anything.
delivered his Pathways Presentation Mastery speech
Because the thing is,
in a time of 6 minutes, 27 seconds. Therefore, he does qualify. Thank
Okay,
you.
wonderful. Thank you, Renee. Okay, I'm going back to the agenda, guys. So when you guys are Toastmaster, that's the little secret, is just read from the agenda. Now we're going to vote for our best speaker, but in the essence of saving time, we already know who our best speaker is because he's our only speaker of the day, and besides, did a great job. So another round of applause for Jason. Woohoo! Well done, Jason. And with that, we're also going to welcome our table topics master to the lectern. Oh, look at that, it's Renee. Renee, are you prepared? Are you ready to be our table topics master for today?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the mic and go ahead and lead
Okay.
us. And if we need to do anything to support, just let us know what that is. Welcome to the mic,
Okay.
Renee.
Welcome to the table topic segment of our meeting today. Please be advised that, again, the word of the day is rancor, and you can use that in the noun or adjective format. Also, keep in mind, please, that the topic, that the theme today is vaccine envy. So if you combine those two elements, that will help you in how you address the table topics today. I'm going to be calling on each person one by one with a method today of asking you to choose a number between 1 and 365. Let's start with Megan Mcmaster.
Hi, Renee. I choose number 283.
Megan, in 1 year from today, how do you think your life will be different?
A year from today, I think that most of the restrictions that we have gotten so used to over the past year now will have probably been lifted. I think that this time next year, fingers crossed, we will be moving closer into whatever the new normal will look like, which some things I hope we are able to carry with us from the pandemic time into the new normal, the more flexible working arrangements, working from home. That part I would like to keep. Many of the other parts, I wouldn't be sad to get rid of my masks, my collection at this point of various masks, which I'm sure we all have our favorites. I won't be sad just to have the general paranoia of going out into the grocery store and interacting with people. But hopefully at this time next year, I will be gearing up for a fantastic European vacation and we'll all be living a vaccinated, more carefree life. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan, on that table topic impromptu presentation. Next, I'm going to turn to Elizabeth Ruiz. Please give me your number selection between 1 and 365. Elizabeth, what would you do differently if you knew nobody would judge you?
I would have a lot of fun, actually. There would be so much raucous that the audience would burst out in laughter. And what is this? I would try out for American Idol. Why is this so funny? Because I cannot sing at all whatsoever. I cannot carry a tune. Even when I sing Happy Birthday, it is hilarious. So if I could actually do something where I would never be judged, I grew up watching American Idol. I remember the very first season. I can tell you every single winner. I love that show. I believe I like it because it's something I know I will never do. And I can watch the dream and my love of singing without carrying a tune in someone else's eyes. Therefore, I would try out for American Idol. Thank you.
Next, we will have Jason Suchecki select a number between 1 and 365.
Let's say 50.
Jason, can you describe your life in a 6-word sentence?
So now I got to count and describe my life. I have a very interesting life that I love. I don't know, that's probably 7 or 8, but I'm supposed to go on from that. It's a lot more than that. That was hard. And now I got to keep on going. My life, I wouldn't change it. I like what I have. Yeah, I have a beautiful family. I have a beautiful business, but putting all that into 6 words, I think is incredibly difficult. This whole little speech is difficult to make me kind of curious to talk about this and to have the one that I picked. So moving on. Yes, it's 6 words and I got to keep talking. Hopefully that green thing shows up so I can quit talking and we can go, yes, we got it. That was such a bad one.
My table topic today for myself is, what is the meaning of peace to you?
And I'll time it, Renee.
Okay. From my perspective, The meaning of peace is the absence of rancor. Peace, in my mind and in my view, encompasses an environment where people are engaged in a harmonious way and in a collaborative way. I feel that peace has a universal meaning when everyone can feel free to be themselves, speak their minds, and go about their lives in a way that is law-abiding and yet personally and professionally fulfilling. I don't think that it is unusual or in any way uncertain that people should have the right to pursue peace in their lives, in their communities, and most especially in their homes. Peace is what we should all be striving for on a daily basis as we go through our daily routines and as we also seek to enjoy those special moments in life that bring us so much joy and wonderful memories that we can carry throughout our lives. Thank you. I have 133. Next, I'll be calling on table topic speaker Scott Livingston to provide me with a number of his choice between 1 and 365.
Okay, how about 265? 265.
Scott, what is your biggest regret?
One of my biggest regrets is that I did not become an Eagle Scout when I was a youth in the Boy Scouts of America. Years ago, I used to have problems with homesickness. And again, I'm talking about years ago. And for me, that means like 30, 35, 40 years ago. I used to have issues with homesickness. I used to be concerned about going to places where I did not have a lot of friends, where I didn't know a lot of people. And when I was in the Cub Scouts, I remember our Cub Scout master left, and there's a little bit of turbulence in the pack, and the pack kind of fell apart. And then years later, when I had an opportunity to get into the Boy Scouts, I didn't know a lot of the people. It seemed like I wasn't really invited. And looking back on that, now that I have additional gifts, skills, and talents, I would have known how to make friends in that group. I would have learned how to become more involved in the group. But back at that time, again, 30, 40 years ago, I didn't quite have those skills and those abilities. And that's one of the things I regret, is I didn't push through and find a way to make things happen so that I could continue through the Boy Scouts, continue through the ranks, and become an Eagle Scout. There are a lot of benefits of being an Eagle Scout, not only from civic service and citizenship and outdoor skills, but it's one of the achievements that you can put on your resume that you can carry with you throughout your entire career. And now that I'm on the board for the Boy Scouts of America, I get to see these young people, men and women, becoming Eagle Scouts. So it's not quite the same thing as being an Eagle Scout myself, but I see it as a way to try to fill that hole that I wasn't able to, from which I wasn't able to benefit before when I was a youth. So I don't have any rancorous feelings about not being an Eagle Scout, but I'm grateful for the opportunities I have today to give back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmasters. Everyone has had an opportunity to present a table topic this morning. I'd like to ask if anyone would like to have a second go around. If not, I will return the podium mic to our Toastmaster. Thank you.
So does anybody want to go again? I mean, this might be a great opportunity for us to end early today. I think we'll just go ahead and continue. But that was a good idea to give her. Does anyone want to do a do-over? How about that? Because I would say you only can pick one speech, but if you want to do a do-over, it seems like Renee is providing opportunities for that today. Okay, we'll keep going. As your Toastmaster, we have finished the table topics. At this time, I'd like to call for a timer report for table topics participants. After we get a timer report, then our members will be encouraged to vote for the best table topics speaker by using the chat function, and they will send their vote specifically and only to our ballot counter, who is also Renee Griffin. So that's where we're headed. But at this time, I'd like to call our timer, Renee Griffin, to the podium to give us a timer report. Mrs. Griffin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Livingston. My timer report is as follows. Our speaker today came in at 6 minutes and 27 seconds. Megan Mcmaster delivered a presentation on table topic 283 in 1 minute, 27 seconds. Elizabeth Ruiz on topic 12 spoke for 1 minute and 23 seconds. Jason Shicheki on topic 50 spoke for 1 minute and 11 seconds. Yours truly, Renee Griffin, spoke on topic 104 at 1 minute and 33 seconds. And Scott Livingston on topic 265 spoke for 2 minutes and 9 seconds. All of our speakers today qualified. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Timer. Good job, everybody. I'm going back to the agenda, and now it's time to vote for the best table topics speaker for the day. So what you do is go down to your chat. Don't send it to everyone. Make sure you go into your chat. And I'm having a hard time with my chat. Anyone else having a hard time with their chat popping up? Oh, there it goes. And then the two, just make sure you send it to Renee and just send the first name of the speaker that you like the most. Renee will tabulate the ballots. If there's a tie, she will break the tie, and then she will simply announce the name of the winner for our table topics speaker today. And after everyone has voted, and after Renee has had some time to tabulate the ballots, then Renee will come to the podium. So we'll just sit here a few minutes of silence until she's ready to come to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, the votes are in.
Drum roll.
I'm pleased to announce that our table topic speaking winner today is Toastmaster Scott Livingston. Congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Ballot Counter. At this time, we'd like to go to our General Evaluator. That's also our club coach. She holds many, many roles. And I'd like to welcome Elizabeth Ruiz to the podium at this time as our General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Scott. My role as General Evaluator is to conduct the evaluation portion of our meeting. I'm going to call for reports from the speech evaluators, timer, counter, and grammarian. I will also report on the quality of evaluations, make note of everything that happened or didn't happen, but should during the meeting. Madam Timer, may I have timing rules for evaluations?
For evaluators, the minimum time is 2 minutes and the maximum time is 3 minutes and 31 seconds.
Excellent, thank you. Now we will hear speech evaluators give evaluations of today's prepared speeches. Then I will give my general evaluation of the overall meeting. Our first and only evaluator is Scott, evaluating Jason's speech. Scott, please help me welcome Scott.
I think there's a little bit of correction. I understand that that's Megan. She's
okay. I
the
apologize.
evaluator.
Megan is our evaluator for Jason. Please help me welcome Megan. Megan, it's all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ruiz. Jason, I thought you did an excellent job today, especially delivering your first speech to all of us. You have a high degree of natural comfort. If you're not comfortable, you're doing a great job of faking it because you seemed really natural, really comfortable. Your fluency seems like you were very well prepared. You really had a high degree of comfort. And I think some of this is natural. You seem like you mentioned in your speech that you've done sales. I think this is probably just a part of your personality. You seem very, very comfortable doing this. Your eye contact was very, very strong. I thought you had a lot of verbal variety. One thing I really liked about your speech was that question that you posed at the end. I thought that was a great way of drawing your audience in. One thing I said to work on, this is something that a lot of us struggle with the cameras. I could see you doing gestures, but they were out of view of the camera. So it's either stepping further back just so we can see the gestures that you're making. And to challenge yourself, I suggested, I loved the way you used that question at the end to really pull everyone in. A good piece of advice that was given to me that I think applies here as well is look for ways of doing that a little bit throughout your speech, of connecting with your audience, bringing them in a little bit more. Overall, I thought you did an outstanding job, and I will email you your feedback form as soon as I have it fully completed. But I gave you very strong marks: vocal variety, comfort level, interest, audience awareness. The only piece of the evaluation that I noted you could use some improvement on, which we all could, is just the gestures and gesturing for this camera situation. That's my evaluation. Thank you very much, Toastmaster. Back to you.
That was excellent. Thank you so much, Madam Evaluator. Madam Timer, may I have a timer's report for the evaluator?
Madam General Evaluator, Megan, as an evaluator, delivered her evaluation of Jason in a total time of 2 minutes and 31 seconds.
Excellent. Thank
She did
you.
qualify.
Yes, thank you. We would normally vote for the best evaluator. Therefore, Megan is the winner of the evaluation portion. Congratulations, Megan. Next, we will hear from the awe counter. They track the use of verbal pauses, those ahs and ems that come out of our mouths while we think of the next thing to say. These verbal pauses detract from our message. Please help me welcome our awe counter. Is this Megan? Yes, Megan, it's all yours.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Today, I was the biggest perpetrator of umming with 4. Jason, I have 3 ums. Everyone else, you did flawlessly. I did not notice a single Yeah, that concludes my report. Back to you.
Excellent. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from the grammarian who's been listening for good uses of language, points for improvement, and tracking our word of the day, which I thought was raucous, but it's really rancor. Welcome, Scott, our grammarian.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Megan and I were splitting the role for grammarian, so she handled the grammar, speech, and so forth. But with respect to the word of the day, I did take note. I did understand that Jason used the word of the day once, Renee used it once, Scott used it once, and Elizabeth certainly tried, but yes, she said raucous instead of rancorous. So she gets a little half credit. And if I missed anyone else, I apologize, but Jason, Renee, and Scott did use our word of the day. Thank you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Now I have a few comments on the meeting as a whole. I would love to see us fill our roles before the meeting starts. And that would be with or through the Vice President of Education and whoever the Toastmaster of the day is. And we need to work on that at least a week before. It would be great to have the roles filled, and also we would love to have more of our members participate. I would like to see that. But overall, I feel the speaker was prepared. I feel the room was prepared in advance. Everything was filled. It went very smoothly. And overall, our meeting was perfect. Without a hitch, we did it with just the 5 of us. This concludes the general evaluation segment. Let's welcome back our Toastmaster of the day, Scott. Scott, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. At this time, I'm going to present awards for Best Speaker, Best Table Topics, and Best Evaluator. I still need to figure out where we get those little electronic awards. I need some help with that. So if anyone knows, maybe we can do that next week. But in the meantime, you guys at least get verbal recognition. The best speaker of the day was Jason Suchecki. So congratulations, Jason. You did a great job on your speech. In particular, it was the icebreaker speech, so well done. Our best table topics speaker was Scott, was me. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate your support. Our best evaluator of the day was Megan Mcmaster. She did a great job on evaluating Jason's speech. So thank you, Megan, for that effort and that commitment. We appreciate that as well. So thank you, Megan. With respect to closing comments, thank you, Elizabeth, for those comments about the roles. We are having some issues with getting our roles filled. At our last officers meeting, the officers decided they wanted to try something a little bit different. But that doesn't negate at all what Elizabeth said. We need to strive to have our roles filled. So when I look forward on the next agenda, I'm going to try to find a Toastmaster that will work with the VPE, our Vice President of Education, to get those roles filled in advance. And then even on the day of, there will still be an opportunity to try to work together at 8:15 to fill in those remaining roles. So filling our roles in advance, like a week in advance, is our goal. If we can't do that, then I will continue to challenge the team members of our club to meet at 8:15 to fill any remaining roles so we can start on time. And like Elizabeth said, having more member participation is important. Some of you may recall that an email that the president that I sent out, I guess about just a few days ago, basically said that the quality of our club experience is directly dependent upon our collective effort and commitment as members of the club. So we get out of the club what we put into the club. So when we fill our roles and when we attend our meetings, I believe our experience will be that much better. So I'll continue to encourage our club members to participate on a regular basis. With that, I'm also the president, so I'm now going to roll into closing comments as a president. Thank you everybody for your attendance. We had a great meeting. It is a little challenging when you have 5 people in attendance, as Ms. Ruiz already stated. And as I mentioned, as the Toastmaster, we'll continue to endeavor to fill those roles and have a Toastmaster and have a VPE, a Vice President of Education, fill those roles in advance. It is a little bit of a difficult time. This is spring break, as Jason alluded to, but we're going to have another opportunity to do it in another couple of weeks. And just in closing, this is what we do. This is Toastmasters. Some of you may recall that one of our speakers exclaimed that it's hard to do the impromptu speeches. And I would agree that sometimes some impromptu speeches are more challenging than others. It is what it is. I like what our table topics master, Renee Griffin, did today, which is basically you just randomly pick a number. That way we're not picking and choosing who's going to get the more difficult speech. It really is random. So I like that method. Thank you, Renee. And sometimes it's like life, or it's almost like what Forrest Gump said, that life is like a box of chocolates, right? You never really know what the chocolate's going to be until you bite into it. And life is that way. Working in commercial industries that way, working in relationships is that way. And so Toastmasters is that way. And one of the reasons that we're in Toastmasters is so that we learn how to think on our feet, speak on our feet, form sentences on our feet, form thoughts and ideas quickly. And so we are members of Toastmasters because it challenges us. It presses us to do the things that are difficult. So be it as it may, I know that one of our members in particular had a really challenging speech. And honestly, I don't know how I would be able to do much better in that type of an impromptu speech that was challenging. But that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do, is learn how to think on our feet. So great job to everybody. That's why we're here. We get better when we practice. We become more confident when we practice. When we have more experience, we feel more confident. We act more confident. We can communicate our ideas more effectively, and people can see that we're more confident, and we just feel better about ourselves. So a big round of applause to everyone who showed up today. I've heard it said that leadership, I think they call it present leadership or something like that. Half of it is just showing up, just being present. The other half is trying and excelling and stretching and growing, because none of us are going to reach perfection, at least not sooner rather than later. One day we may reach perfection, but I think we're all trying to get better at what we do. And it comes by falling and getting back up again and trying again. And just one last word of a kind of a concluding comment. I have grown a lot in Toastmasters just in the year and a half that I've been here. I had an opportunity to make a presentation to the city council 2 weeks ago. I felt a lot more confident. I felt a lot more capable. I felt a lot more at ease. And I had several of the staff members and city council members say, wow, yeah, you did a great job. Where'd you learn to do that? Those were great comments. Thank you for those wonderful words. And I give all that credit to Toastmasters, learning how to write my speech, memorize my speech, present my speech. And because I was focused not on the content of the speech, I could focus on the delivery of the speech. I could look at people's eyes. I could adjust my speech, my speed, my intonation, my tone, and focus on my delivery. So even though I didn't give the speech here at Toastmasters, I just wanted to give you that report that I did have a successful experience at a recent city council meeting as a result of my experience in Toastmasters. So with that, guys, we're going to end a little bit early so you can go and do something else and work on your speech for next time. And we will meet again. I'm looking at my calendar. It looks like we meet again, and it'll be on Friday, April the 2nd. So everybody, you guys have a great weekend, and thank you for attending our meeting today. Bye, everybody.